At the moment, there's a big interest in growing your own food. There's a big interest in eating healthy, local food and about the production methods of that. But a lot of people in horticulture, it's second careers, and we need young energy. We need people that are starting in their 20s and can learn it their whole life and really improve on the systems and make local horticulture work. We've just finished a 3-year pilot project, Pathways to Farming, where we developed the training programme, and we're about to start a new 3 years, and this is enabling us to deliver this programme completely free to anyone who wants to join us in learning to be a commercial production horticulturalist and grow food.
We at Machynlleth, we wanted to build a stronger local food system here in Mid Wales, and we wanted to see more people in the community eating food that's grown in the fields around us. So there's a real lack of commercial fruit and veg producers in Mid Wales, and we wanted to address that. So we got funding from RDP to run a new training programme for commercial food producers, and it's aimed at kind of addressing some of the barriers to new entrants into food production. We talked to a lot of local businesses and there was this huge demand for local produce. So businesses were telling us we really want to buy stuff that's grown locally. So we've been training growers to try and meet that demand. Obviously with COVID it's been quite challenging, but we know that that demand's still there. So the aim is to get more people producing vegetables for sale to be able to sell through all these local businesses who really want to support local producers.
People don't have all the skills. Some people have green fingers and like to grow, and some people have business skills, some people have marketing skills, some people are good at art and can do the social media and all the promotion side of it. And so our training programme wrapped that all together in one course so that we could mentor people where they needed help. And at the end of it, people had created a business plan, they had a brand, they knew what they were going to grow, where they were going to sell it. So some people choose to go and sell directly through veg boxes or on a market store. Others go down the wholesale route where you don't have to deal with any customers. Different models suit different people, and for some people they don't know what that is until they get started. People sign up for the course for 1 year, but at the end of that year they can choose to leave the programme or continue on. And our intention, our hope, is that people want to continue on so they can move off the micro plot and we can help them try and find land with land share or help them on their own land and upscale so that it becomes a commercial business then.
Machynlleth is quite a small grassroots community organisation, so we really needed support from other partners to run this project, and also we wanted to work with other people who are doing similar things around food resilience. So we partnered with the Centre for Alternative Technology here in Machynlleth and with Cultivate in Newtown, and both of those partners have kind of worked with us to kind of address the barriers for new entrants.
Pathways to Farming has definitely supported a lot of new food producers, and one thing that we were concerned about when we first started the project was that we wouldn't have enough interest, because growing is notoriously difficult, notoriously low paid and notoriously hard work. So we were a bit worried that we wouldn't actually be able to get enough people signed up, and we've had over the last 2 years 20 people that have shown an interest, and pretty much all of them have actually continued in growing, so it's definitely increased the amount of food produced in the local area.
Of course, we used to grow potatoes for ourselves anyway because we had the equipment behind the tractor, so that's something we've been doing for years. Since my father did that and my grandfather before him, and that's something we've always done on the farm. But I just wanted a different hobby really, and other than just farming, and there's a patch in the garden which was looking a bit overgrown, so I dug it over, got all the weeds out, and thought I'd plant some strawberries and that's in there. So I planted the strawberries, and I had a delicious crop of strawberries off them, and I thought, oh, I quite like this, and I thought I'll try some tomatoes next, and I thought they tasted nicer, fresh than where you buy them in the supermarkets and that. So I thought, I'll just start growing a bit more, and it's just gone from there. And just grown more and more different veg.
Currently, we've come to a situation where we depend on supermarkets, and they provide us with less and less choice. Somewhere like here, the range of veg is very small.
So, having lived for several years in both Africa and India, I came back to the UK. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And I found when I went into the supermarket and I came to the fruit and veg section, and I saw products that were being shipped halfway around the world. I thought, we can grow this here. Why are we shipping it halfway around the world? And then I realised that people want everything all the time. They don't want to eat seasonally, which is a shame because it means you never really appreciate anything if it's always available. I think if people were more aware of where their food came from, they would have a completely different respect for their food and where it comes from and how much time and energy and effort it takes to grow it and produce it. And I think if you can get your hands in the soil yourself and have a go at growing, you really will realise how much effort it takes, and once it's on the table, you'll really, really appreciate it.
I feel very much at the moment that times are very uncertain with climate and also with Brexit. Our food security is very weak. The supermarkets are not a guaranteed chain of food, and we soon see how things go up in price. So it becomes very obvious that we need people growing food locally and learning how to grow resiliently and growing the best for the conditions locally.
During lockdown, I think people were sort of having to buy their food more differently, and that, especially in the supermarkets, were selling out, and the shelves were empty, so having to look a bit more local. They could buy in bulk and that, so they knew they could stock up and that, so if they had to be under lockdown for a long period, particularly if they were in quarantine. So like things like veg boxes which can be done locally and that, so, and perhaps look at like delivering to people's doors and that, so to keep people under quarantine or vulnerable people in shielding and that, so. Other farmers, they seem quite interested in what I'm doing, and some even buy some produce off me and that, so, and particularly during COVID and that, people were calling by then to buy potatoes and that, to try and stock up and that, so obviously I can sell a bit more in bulk during COVID and that, so I didn't have any left, which is the first time sold out, so.
Cultivate are a grassroots organisation, just like Machynlleth, so we wanted to work with them to kind of build up local food resilience. And they do a lot of work in Newtown. They've got a deli, they've got a community garden, they work with a whole network of producers. So we worked with Cultivate on the training and on the promotion of local food, but also on setting up a new veg box scheme called Veg to Table.
If Jodie hasn't sold them all?
Yeah, because he wanted to bring his...
The purpose of the veg box scheme is to give growers a reliable market. So customers sign up and the growers know that they have that number of people to supply food to every week. So it gives them a nice reliable market that they can plan for, and it also gives them a steady income from the weekly veg boxes. And it's also allowing customers in Newtown to get access to food that's grown locally every week.
I hope that in the veg boxes it's not too disturbing when people get things they're not familiar with, or in a different colour, because that's nature and it's all got different nutrients in, so that's important.
The demand for the project has been much higher than we expected, and we're actually already getting interest in next year. So it's just showed how valuable and important it is to actually support in increasing local food production.
I've learnt a huge amount on the course. Though I've always grown, I grew a limited range of things that I felt safe with, that I knew, things that I would particularly eat. But if I'm going to grow for a wider audience than just myself, I have to spread out the range of things I can grow. So that's a challenge. And so it's been a year where I've been able to experiment and do things that maybe I wouldn't have been brave enough to, because there's the support of a tutor, there's the support of a load of people trying to do the same thing. So if you get a load of mildew and everything dies, you know you're not the only one, it's just the weather this year. So your seeds don't come up, yeah, it's really dry. So that's always comforting, and it's not just a complete disaster and I'll give it up. So that's been very encouraging.
I had a micro allotment plot at the community allotment here and was growing vegetables for myself, and was becoming more and more aware of how we transport food a long way, and was asking myself why we do this, and was trying to grow more and more of my own food. And then the Pathways to Farming opportunity came up. So I went along to find out and found myself on the course. It was all a very steep learning curve, but I've learnt an incredible amount, not only just about growing, but about starting a business as well. So we had to do a whole business plan and start a small business within the first year, which was incredibly taxing. It took a lot of time and effort, but well worth it. And yeah, I've learnt a lot.
We've had lots of field trips to nationally interesting sites, just absolutely invaluable. And just the wide range of places we went to was just fantastic to see, because everyone grows differently. Everyone has their own style. It's not you do exactly this and you do exactly that. And, each plot is different, each climate, microclimate is different, so it's really good to see such a range of people doing a range of things.
What we found is that, especially when you're supporting fairly new growers, is that it's definitely not enough time. And some of the feedback that we've got is actually that a year of essentially learning the theory of food production and scaling up and moving from a hobby grower to a more commercial scale grower, and then you kind of want a year of actually practicing out in the field. And the support that is needed has been so valuable, and we've definitely found that actually this is something that we need to try and continue, because the worry is that we've just spent 2.5 years supporting a load of people and then that support stops and they're not quite ready to go it alone, because it's quite difficult in the horticultural field.
And to have the backup of Jodie and Katie, who find markets for the products, because growing is a job, selling is another job. That's been fantastic to have all of that backup.
All the skills that I've learnt on Pathways to Farming training, I'm hoping to utilise them if I eventually buy my piece of land and go and live on my land. I'd like to grow for the local community, and it's enabled me to learn how to get my produce into the community. Having done the business plan and set up the business, I feel like I've got that experience to do that now. So not only can I grow vegetables to feed myself, but I can help support the local community.